Reusable components matter because they save you time and effort. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. They make prototyping faster, letting you focus on gameplay and design instead of setup. From there, you can polish and customize to fit your vision rather than building every single asset from scratch. Overall, they keep your workflow consistent, efficient, and focused on what makes your game unique. Okay, take it away, Ash.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm going to do this from the perspective of you are kind of like either low code ability or no code ability. So I'll start off by giving you an idea of what is a good component to choose to make reusable, something that can be used across different kind of game genres, things like that. And to help with that, I created this start screen to kind of like give you a literal map of what those components can be. So think about the first screen players see in almost every game, the start screen, and each button on that screen actually represents a system that nearly every game needs. So the play button represents your core mechanic. The store is your IWP, any kind of monetization system, even if it's like an in-world currency. Then you have your rewards, which represents your progression system. Your help button is like the tutorial, so the players know actually what to do in your game, as well as the settings. We don't typically do a lot of settings buttons in Horizon games, but I have seen it done. So think of it as ways the player can customize their experience. If you have a world that has a bilingual setting where you can change it from English as the default for your pop-ups and things to another language, that would be a good option for a reusable component for settings. So if you treat these as like reusable generic components, you can really carry them from one project to the next. That way, instead of like reinventing the wheel, you're able to stack these ready-made parts to build a game faster, smarter, and definitely with a lot more polish. So work smarter, not harder. Why? So instead of starting from zero each game, you're trying to, again, stack the Lego blocks you've already built. Why? Because it's faster. With the competitions that seem to be going on all the time now, we have these short time frames that we have to build within. So to give yourself more time to focus on like really tying down that core loop, maybe you have these other systems that are already pre-made and that are just reusable pieces. And having the reusable piece means it's also easier to maintain and update because you have this flexibility that's already there. And then the polish is already built in because you've already taken the time to really refine those reusable pieces. So on the screen, this is the code that I made to make that UI game start screen, but in two different versions. The first version is probably what everyone typically does as their first go through coding of like you just build it to make it functional. And I just did it all in the initialize UI, if you're familiar with that. And I didn't break any of the pieces out. So if you were to see it, it's just this big chunk of code. So that's usable. It works. It does what it needs to do, but it might not be reusable. It might take too much time for me to kind of parse that out if I tried to put it in another game. The second example is something that's a little more modular. So the different pieces are put into their own little containers, and I can grab those containers and put them into a different UI, and that's my building block. So really honing in on what I just explained there. If you think of it as like modular versus monolithic, so monolithic being that big, huge chunk that if you touch anything, the rest of the thing could potentially shatter and not work. You don't want to build reusable components like that. You want something that's more a plug and play type of thing that you can move stuff around and everything still works. So like in this example that you see on the screen right now, this is the monolithic version of the code that makes up this UI. And one of the things that I know that I do when I'm making that first version of a UI, I write it in long form, which is not very useful for making updates. So in this long form, all those red buttons have their own views, meaning if I want to change the color of the buttons, I have to do it in like 4 places, which is not very efficient and I do not recommend it. So that's going to take time for me to make an update to this kind of a code. So that's why I prefer a more modular approach. So when you modularize your code, you can pull out the pieces like I mentioned, but also modify it. So now in this code, there's only one place I would need to update the color to change all 4 colors of the buttons. And this makes that more reusable, right? I can just grab this function, move it somewhere else, make buttons, and update the buttons as I need. That's the goal of having something that's reusable, is that it's an easy thing that you can just change a few things here and there and use it in something else. This also takes less time to find what makes up the UI. Again, if you look or think back to the previous slide, it's hard to see what makes up what, like what is the play button, what are these option buttons. In this style, I can tell because there's more description in the code that helps me know what this piece is and what it's doing. So I've told you about how I do it in a UI, but again, there's other components that you can, have that are reusable. So this map doesn't stop here, and it can definitely be whatever you want to make of it. I've identified some generic reusable components, but your style of games may use different pieces. So like, are those components subcomponents of these ones? Possibly. Are these components outside of the ones listed? Also possible. So this is where I'm going to ask for some participation. I know you guys are excited about participating. So what are some genres of games and some components that you might need for those type of games? I'll start you off with the first one. So think like an FPS game might need some type of reload mechanic, or maybe there's a aim assist or crosshair mechanic. But I'm curious what other kind of components you would reuse in multiple worlds or games. See, we got an RPG needs something like an inventory screen, even if basic. True, true, true. Health bar, that's another good one, yes. So you're getting the idea of like, there's these pieces that you can use them in multiple versions of different games, that you can, if you have a reusable version of it, you don't have to build that thing from scratch the next time you make that type of game again. So I want you to keep that in mind. With that said, I will say some other genres that you probably want to pay attention to if you're going to be playing or submitting for the competition are tycoons and clickers and role play games. So maybe a tycoon has some type of upgrade system. If it's a clicker, some type of auto generator. If it's a role play, maybe it's a dress up role play. So you're going to need some type of wearable inventory system, things like that. Or if it's a pet care simulator, some kind of, like someone said, it health bar or a hunger bar, energy bar, mood bar. So these are the type of things you want to keep thinking about, and then hopefully create or find, because that's what you can do. You can create these components from scratch. You can repurpose old builds. I typically do that. I'll make it terrible in the first build, and then I'll harvest from that build to refine it in the next build. And you can also use the build using the GenAI assistant. That's also a very modular way of approaching making your own reusable components. But right now, you're kind of set up for using the last 2 options, which are remixable worlds and public asset library assets. Let's find some reusable components. How about that? So this is the fun time where we're going to actually do some experimentation and see what we can actually make using what we find, out there that are remixable things. And with that, I'll hand it back over to the lovely Miss Space Glitter.
Thank you, Ash. So yes, when you're creating a game or world, you don't always need to start from scratch. I'm going to just kind of repeat this. Remixable worlds and the asset library give you a huge head start. You can quickly pull in ready-made items, layouts, and systems. So instead of spending weeks just getting the basics in place, you can focus on testing your core idea. This streamlines the whole process from that first prototype to play testing and all the way to the final polish. So using remixable content lets you move faster, stay creative, refine your vision without getting stuck on the technical setup. It's all about accelerating your workflow while still making the game feel uniquely yours. So let's talk about how to bring in a remixable world. So we have something super simple that we were going to start with, which is, I'm going to open this up from our latest contest. So it's by Ethereal Studios. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this guy. And here's the main page. So Normally, some of the remixable worlds do have kind of like that label remix, but you could also look at the dev post and see what everybody else has made and remix those. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this drop down here and we're going to find remix in editor. One thing to note is that this will work on the standalone desktop editor and not the link version. All right, as you can see, I've already pulled it in, but I'm gonna just do it again for you guys. And I guess it always prompts you to download the desktop editor. And it just, yeah, there we are. So it's gonna give you a window and then you're gonna go ahead and click on Remix. And what's cool about this build in particular is that it's super simple and it's modular, and we can take it and make it into whatever we want. I'm really pulling in elements from the asset library, from different creators, all that stuff. Do you have anything to say, Ashes, about this particular build?
Yes, so I did take a peek at the scripts that were involved, and this is very plug and play. So as long as you have the assets in your asset library, you just can drag them into the property panel for these scripts, and they will work right out the box. And that is always what you want to have when you want something that's no code and reusable. So I highly recommend this for anyone who's deciding to make some avatar clothing and want to build a store that's kind of like no code. This is definitely a good place to start.
All right, so just a quick rundown. So every single item in here is modular. So you could take these components and just make your own shapes, which is super fun, super nice. I'm going to show you one of the shops. As you can see, it's going to be a avatar clothing shop, has a lot of ghost items that you can replace with your own, and some interesting UIs. We're going to go over how to replace these images for these UIs. Let me get out of here. And yeah, so let's start. What do you think I should start with first, Ashes?
Let's, if you have some avatar clothes that you want to, display, we could
All
start
right.
there. Or if you want to modify one of the stores, that's another option.
Well, first off, I personally, I wouldn't want to fill an entire mall, right? But there are other people who do have enough avatar items for an entire mall this size. What's cool about this is each square here is its own shape. Now, technically, I wouldn't use this. Like for example, I would make my own floor. I would totally export this space and remesh a lot of things. But for the sake of time and modularity, just using this like this is just fine too. I'm going to take away these guys here because I don't think we need all of this.
Before you delete, one thing, I think that's where the add is. If you move the add to the like that middle box with the arches,
Oh, yes.
I think
Good
we
to
want to
know.
keep that one. Yep.
That's why we're doing this live, baby. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that, and I'm going to just bring that down. I do see a lot of different script boxes in here. Is it okay to delete those?
Let's so it is pretty modular. So the ones that you see in the actual buildings, I believe those are like self-contained, like we want. So those
Hmm.
are just the displays for those particular avatar
Okay.
clothing items. So you should be good to delete those.
All right, so let's do that. And if anybody wants to unmute and join us in our creation journey, you can do so. Oops, I think I just did delete that. All right, Space Glitter.
No
My
worries. No
goodness.
worries. No worries. It's okay. We can still demo with the displays in the other shops. It's
Okay.
the same process. No worries.
All right, cool. Alrighty. So, I'm actually good with deleting more. I think this pool is okay, but I may stop it from there. I'm gonna just take away half the pool because the pool, I believe, is also modular. Let me
What,
see.
can you change the color? maybe a little more purple in there.
Right? A purple pool.
Yeah.
That would be sweet. Actually, what I'm going to do, since these pieces can move, I just do. There we are. Cool. And the rest of this, I can delete this portion, am I correct?
You should be
All
good.
right, let's do that. Let's delete this. Make this pretty. All right, keep me on track. So what else needs to be done besides design, of course?
So do you want to try to set up one of the displays in the shop or finish off
Yes.
that back wall or?
No, I could go back to finishing it. Let's go into the meat and potatoes, shall we?
Okay.
All right, so let's see. So I am going to go to,
You don't have to touch the scripts because this is plug and play.
I need commerce,
Yes, you do.
and
Yes, to bring in your avatar clothing.
list avatar item, and I have a whole bunch of really fun stuff. So let's see. I have that knowledge dragon onesie that I can bring in. Not onesie, it's a overalls. Maybe I'll publish this. Yes, I'll publish it. Finally. All right. Next, we're gonna do this UV bodycon because it's interesting. Why not? Let's see. I have my funny t-shirts. I have this comfy Sakura shirt, zigzag hoodie, or whatever. How many items should I pull out for today? Let's see. And this, no, I'm gonna do glitter awesome because why not?
Nice.
Weird unicorn?
Go for it.
I'll do it. All right, cool. So, what else should I do? ADHD went crazy there for a sec.
No worries, no worries.
Am I pulling out the meshes for those items?
Yes, we're going to replace the ghost mesh in the shops with your actual avatar clothing mesh.
Should I do the tiny shop or should I do the bigger shop? Is the question.
That is a good question. I kind of like those recessed archways. Those are kind of cool.
Right? Those are pretty. All right, cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and just go here. And let's see. I'm gonna find my assets. Whoops. And I am going to go to where are you? Where's my avatar assets? Ah, there it is. I'm blind. Okie doke. So I did my UV bodycon. All right, knowledge dragon overalls. Oh, what else? I did my funny t-shirt. This shop is gonna be amazing. One of the best. I'm just kidding. I'm so kidding. King Appa, that's my dog. I think I did Comfy Sakura, so I'm gonna pull that. I think I did the Zip Zap too, but I'm not sure. Glitter awesome. Weird unicorn. All right, sweet. Okay, so first off, we're gonna want to focus on this UI portion. Am I correct? So I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna just delete this real quick.
But well,
not that.
Just
oh,
yeah,
it's
the mesh
attached.
inside.
Oh, I got it. So what do I do? So exactly. So what I'm going to do is go into the hierarchy, product panel. I believe it
might be, is it Pants 01? No.
It's that one. Hands 02. Let's see. am I replacing this one? This guy right here?
Yes.
And everything is parented underneath?
Well, it should be a separate mesh. I'm trying to see which
All
one's
right.
the mesh.
In the meantime, I'm gonna add you to the world. So of course you can add collaborators.
I am on my way.
Let's go. Collaboration. There we go. Better visibility. And I'd like to position this guy here. Everything seems to be jumbo sized. Should definitely try out some of these remixable worlds. There's a lot of good content out there that is free for you to use. Like, why not? I'm gonna delete these items. Are you in?
Not yet. My machine seems to be going a little slower. I think it's the Zoom call.
Oh, right. While you do that, I'm gonna go ahead and just rearrange the space a little bit. This set in particular is really nice. Like I said, it's modular and it's very simple. You could do so much with it. Even the environment, if you changed up the environment, you can really make the space your own just with the Skybox itself. So alrighty. I have some items here ready to sell. All right, cool. Cool. Let's take a look. Oh, and we have some fashion music.
Very nice.
Swanky. I can imagine this a space having like some more greens. I mean, I'm a big fan of, plants and foliage. I definitely imagine something to look at outside of here. So maybe some, I don't know, maybe some landscape, mountains, a nice skybox. I don't know, guys. What kind of skybox do you think I should do? Should it be realistic? Should it be daytime, nighttime? What do you think? Let's make this our own here. We could even add some like obby elements too. Right? Because I mean, really in reality, you can make this store anything. I do want to know what these are. Okay. Very interesting. So these are placed generated. Interesting. All right. Is Ashes in the house? All right.
So do you want to update one of the panels to have the product image?
Yes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick. Image. And it's just the image, right? That's all I need.
That's it. And then you can type in a description as well. But you just have to drag the image into the property panel of that main group.
I'm going to go ahead and add this texture in PNG format. There we are. Okay, here we are, right here.
There you go.
Okay. How do I get to this script?
So you're there. So if you look at your property panel at the bottom,
Okie doke.
So you've got your title, you've got your description, and then that last is where you drag and drop your image.
Sweet. Drag and drop.
Mm-hmm.
How about that? Right, that should work.
Mm-hmm. And just walk up to it, and there you go.
Yeet. Look at that. Chic women's pants with flattering silhouette, lightweight and versatile. No, I need to fix that description.
Yeah. So I just edited that to get rid of those pants, but you should be good now.
Let's see a sec.
So looking at the chat, you have to create a CUI gizmo for each clothing asset. No, you do not. This is if you want to have like one of those pop-up displays that actually gives a description of the clothing item. If you want to make it purchasable, we do have to do another step, which will require each asset that you want to sell to have it. And let me know when you're ready to do that part, and we can do that after you've updated your description, Glitter.
So I'm going to use the description that Jules made for us. Outfit that gives me knowledge of a designer and the armor of dragons. So I'm going to go ahead and use that as the super amazing description. So I'm going to go ahead and delete. Bam. All right, cool.
Awesome. Awesome.
Dragon pants. Oh my goodness, my caps. Okay, cool. I'm going to go ahead, preview from here. Look at that outfit that gives me the knowledge of a designer and the armor of the dragon. All right, cool. So let's exit there. All right, what's next?
So I pulled, if you go in edit mode and go back to that outfit, I pulled out a IWP gizmo for you. So it's right next to where that outfit is. And what we need to do is set that gizmo up to reference that outfit that you added in the commerce. And we're going to move it into place so that the players can click the buy button.
Sweet. All right, let's go. Let's do it. So
you see in your properties panel, yep, you select an item, or you can choose, yeah, whichever we want to do first.
I got it, girlfriend.
Oh.
All right, so cool. So I got the pants.
Yep.
Right, and I would like to turn this into a button, right? And that will show the price of our item. Sorry.
And if you want to move it into place where that display is,
I shall. I just want to make sure I'm facing the right direction.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, because sometimes that can get a little bit confusing, but that's okay. All right, sweet.
So you want the Z-axis to face the player.
Absolutely. All right.
Gotcha.
Let's see. I'm gonna just make this a little bigger. I feel I can't see what I'm doing. So what I'd like to do is move that out of the way. But it's all right. So let's see. I'm gonna preview from here. Look at that. That's too far away.
No worries. That's what iteration is for.
Iteration is definitely for just that. All right, so let's try this one more time. One more time. I really like that song, by the way, guys. Daft Punk. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. All right, cool. All right, let's take a look. I think that's perfect. Oh, but our UI covers it.
So you have to put it in front of the UI for sure.
Yeah. All right, cool. This is why we're doing these things live, because you guys, you don't know. Sometimes, yeah, it's fun to see, number one, the unicorn struggle, and number two, that you might fall into those same areas and say, hey, I saw the unicorn struggle with this. I won't do it this way. And, maybe you'll find other ways that all the other blockers and stoppers and stuff like that. So All right, cool. I think that's just fine. I nudged a little bit. All right, so what's next for our super amazing shop here?
So I will want to loop back to Samson's question again. So Samson, for any item that you want a player to be able to push a button and purchase the actual avatar clothing piece, you'll need to get the gizmo like we did, fill it out, and place it near that item. Other than that, the UIs are just like an ad. So you don't need them for every item. And I suggest not using them for every item because there is, I think you want to keep between, I think it's 10 custom UI gizmos in a world. Try not to go over that because your world's performance will tank. So use the IWB gizmos for sure. Okay, so what's next? That's a good question. What does the chat want to see next?
All right, so we have a few things that we need to do to make this place pop. I'm only going to fill in this shop here, to be honest, but the rest, we need to think about design. We need to think about Skybox. I did see something about underwater elements in the Skybox, so let's try that out. I'm actually pretty excited about that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the GenAI because that is also a resource, and that would be part of everything in your toolbox. So let's see, generate a sky. Should I generate the sky more realistic, cartoony? Like, definitely give me ideas, guys. Like, what style should I go for?
We've got World Cube says desert scene with sand dunes and palm trees. Samson says anime. Any other ideas? Utter Otterly says Little Mermaid with Disney cartoony. Any of those suit your fancy, Glitter?
From everything combined, I almost feel that digital painting might be the way to go.
Okay.
Because that does give us some elements of you can go anime, a little anime with that. Because sometimes the anime, I don't know, might be too much. But I did like the idea of the underwater scene, but why not take it a step further and try to combine the desert scene sand dunes? So let's see. Let's get prompting here. So underwater scene with God rays and swimming. Let's see, swimming. Let's see. Trying to think orcas and ocean floor resembling sand dunes. That would be interesting. Let's generate that and see what we got. Squids. Oh, I missed the squids, but we could add the squids afterwards. I'm wondering if the asset library has a solid squid in there.
Yeah.
But yes, of course, like you have lots of tools under your tool belt. I wouldn't ignore the fact that you can also make certain items yourself. So pick and choose what streamlines your work the fastest way possible. Oh my gosh. Interesting.
That's pretty good. Wow.
All right. That is really interesting. Let's see what this looks like from the ground here. Not too bad. In a way, I kind of like the height of the sand dunes because you can see it from every angle. And if you go down here, you can see those swimming babies. All right, cool. So now that we have that underway, what else should we add to this remixable world other than like of course, like rearranging this entire area, I feel that maybe we can find some elements from the asset library. So let's go ahead into the asset library, public assets. Do you guys have any favorite assets that you like to use from the asset library? Other than that, I'm going to go ahead and figure out. So it is maybe some statues. Okay, statues is good. How about a bear?
What about some jellyfish?
Jellyfish, right? We do have some solid jellyfish here. All right, hold up. I'm gonna bring this guy out. And this guy looks pretty cool. All right, so that's pretty neat. We have some jellyfish. I'm gonna make them giant jellyfish. And then we can light those guys up. All right, so from the asset library, you also have some scripted elements that you can reuse to make your own. Alrighty, so before I do that though, I would like to give these jellyfish some life by placing static light here. Why not? See, with the static light, I'm gonna put the intensity. I'm gonna put, actually, no, what am I doing? 17. I'm gonna give this jellyfish a blue light because I do like glowy blue stuff. Cool. And then I'm going to change the rectangle to an ellipsoid. Bring that down.
Ooh. Like
now
that.
I have a very ethereal looking jellyfish. We could do the same for this one. So I'm going to do Control D, copy that, and light that up. And easy peasy. Now you have some really cool, like, guys, like, seriously, it's all about experimenting with all these tools. You could do really fun stuff. Be creative with what you have. All right, sweet. So I'm going to go ahead and preview. Check it out. Now I have some glowing jellyfish. Really cool. And to be honest with you, you could even take those jellyfish and like totally make them into, like, I don't know, chandeliers and stuff for your clothing shop. It's really neat. Well, thanks a lot, guys. Thank you for being here, and see you soon.
See ya.
Bye.